Imagine, for a moment, the thunder of a million hooves not halting. In 1241, the Golden Horde, under Batu Khan, stood on the precipice of Western Europe. Poland and Hungary lay devastated. Vienna, Venice, and Rome were next. Then the news of Ögedei Khan's death called the Mongol princes back east for a new election. Europe was spared. But what if they hadn't turned back? What if Batu, emboldened by his victories, had continued his relentless westward surge? The fragmented kingdoms of Western Europe, squabbling amongst themselves, would have stood little chance. Feudal knights, however brave, were no match for the disciplined, overwhelming force of the Mongol war machine. City walls would have crumbled to siege engines, castles breached by cunning tactics. Within decades, the map of Europe would be redrawn. No longer would there be a France, an England, a Holy Roman Empire as we know them. Instead, a series of interconnected khanates, each governed by a Mongol general or his descendants, would stretch from the Atlantic to the Pacific. Paris, London, and Rome wouldn't be cultural capitals, but administrative centers within a vast centralized empire, reporting to the Great Khan in Sarai or even distant Karakorum. The immediate consequences would be devastating: untold destruction, loss of life, and the brutal suppression of any resistance. But then, as history has shown with other Mongol conquests, would come a different kind of order. Europe would be integrated into the colossal Mongol trade network, the Pax Mongolica. The Silk Road would stretch unbroken from Beijing to Bordeaux. New goods, new ideas, new diseases would travel with unprecedented speed. Think of the technological leap. Gunpowder, printing, paper money, the compass, all already flourishing in the East, would be introduced to Europe centuries earlier than they were historically. This wouldn't be the slow, organic growth spurred by the Renaissance, but a rapid implantation from a technologically advanced empire. Would a European Renaissance even happen in the same form? Or would it be a fusion, a Mongol Renaissance, blending East and West? Culturally and religiously, the landscape would be unrecognizable. While the Mongols generally practiced religious tolerance, Latin Christianity would undoubtedly be severely diminished. Cathedrals might stand, but their political power would be gone. Perhaps syncretic beliefs would emerge, or even a widespread adoption of Tengrism or Islam, which was ascendant in parts of the Mongol Empire. A new elite of Mongol and Turkic governors would oversee the populace, their languages influencing, perhaps even replacing, local tongues. And what of the age of exploration? Would a Mongol-dominated Europe, focused eastward on its vast continental empire, even bother looking west across the Atlantic? Or would Mongol ships, drawing on sophisticated Chinese naval technology, be the first to discover the Americas, altering the fate of indigenous populations and global power dynamics entirely? Fast forward to today. The world would be vastly different. A hyper-globalized Eurasian supercontinent, interconnected since the 13th century. Nations as we know them might not exist. Our languages, cultures, and technologies would be an unthinkable tapestry woven from threads of both East and West, all stemming from that single pivotal decision: to keep riding west. Subscribe for more thought-provoking historical what-ifs.